Hey YouTube, how is it going? I hope all is well. Today we're just going to kind of do a little bit of follow-up on what's been going on. Obviously, I have not made any real videos in the last week. You may have seen a video that came out the other day. It was actually one of my membership videos, which is why it wasn't pointed very well towards the general audience, but it hadn't quite been viewed by all the members yet, and it was in there for a couple weeks at least. But I kind of decided it would probably be best to let that one out of the bag to kind of give you an idea of where this amp here is going to go. Dale, what's going on, dude? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate that. So if you go back to my videos and watch the the one that I posted the other day called I Do High Gain 2, I Just Do It Differently. It kind of gives you an idea of where this amp is probably going to head. I assume that it's going to be just a little bit, not much, but a little bit gainier than that one. So a little bit more drive than that one. It has an extra gain stage in theory. It's almost identical in terms. You got to think of it this way. I have one parallel triode that's going into two other triodes, and then into the phase inverter. Now the phase inverter is being distorted in that design. So that's technically 4 gain stages if you want to look at it like that. Different character though. A phase inverter, the way it distorts is a little bit different character than when a triode in and of itself kind of does its thing. So yes, sir. Speaking of which, it is time to crack it open and enjoy. So cheers to that. Tonality wise though, I kind of feel it'll be kind of in the same realm. Maybe a little bit creamier. I'm hoping for a little more roundness out of it, but we'll see. We won't really know until we actually get it built. So speaking of getting it built, you can see I haven't done anything. I have done a couple things with the chassis. Mainly I've just put some marks on it because everybody wants to know where everything's going to go. Obviously I still need to drill a couple more holes before we can really get anywhere, but we kind of talked about it before, but these are where the bias test points are going to go there. And then here is where the big HT thing will go. So you can measure the actual HT. You can see I added a piece of tape here, kind of remarked my center there. I put some marks here as well, so you can kind of see where the things are going to go. We need to mark where the actual effects loop is going to go, but that's more or less what we're going to do today, is just get the modification of the effects loop done. And depending on how I feel, we will maybe drill some holes or something. I kind of thought maybe it would be cool to also show you another amp. You guys have never really seen or heard of this one here, the Atlas. Maybe we'll play that one later, but I kind of wanted to settle, like, there are people kind of asking what's going on with with this giveaway amp. Like, what is it? What is it going to be? What is it going to sound like? Etc. Etc. Hey Lex, how's it going, my man? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. So I wanted to make sure that it was quite clear exactly what this thing is, right? So let's just get it settled right off the get. High watt output section, okay? So the output section of this amp will be a 50 watt high watt version. Not changing much there. We are over filtering it, so it'll have probably 2x the amount of filtering that it needs to have. So it'll be quite stiff there. We're using an extremely beefy power supply for this amp to make sure that it has no power supply problems whatsoever. So it'll be a very stout power supply. And then it will have 4 gain stages. Count it, 1, 2, 3, 4 gain stages in the front end. It'll utilize 2 parallel triodes in that. So it'll start with one and end with one. And then the 2 interim gain stages will be just regular triodes. All 12AX7s. And then of course, the last 12AX7, the last pair of 12AX7s, excuse me, actually take on the role for the phase inverter side of things. So far, everything's going pretty good with the exception of a couple of unexpected gotchas. One of those gotchas was this, these jacks here on this effects loop that I got from Mr. Elam's 1849's channel. I don't know. I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying he did it or it's his fault. I don't know if he had this made or if he stuffed it himself. But the center line for these output outputs, if you would focus, there you go. You can kind of see that the center line for these is not the same as it is with those. So I ordered some different standoff sizes, or a different standoff size, I should say, for it. And maybe you can see, maybe you can't, but you can kind of see how this one here is a bit taller, this one here, versus the ones that are currently in there. But when you line everything up, you can just kind of see it is a little bit taller, but it will get more in line with, it's actually in line with these. Whatever, you get it, duh. So you're gonna watch me fight to get these things out and put these new ones in. We'll see how that's gonna go. Another reason I kind of wanted to change these out anyway is the style that he has uses these plastic knobs like this. Well, I don't use that style. I use this style here that's more like the old Cliff style. So changing them out is kind of beneficial in that I can have more or less the same style of output jack all the way around, because this is the style that I use on my amps. I like the Cliff jacks. These are not Cliff jacks. They're the only ones I could find that are readily available that have the 3/16 inch standoff. So these are 1/16 inch, these are 3/16 inch. So there is that. Outside of that, once we get through that, once I get all the holes drilled, excuse me, it's gonna go pretty quick. I did some other work here. I did some more measurements. I have the screws for this on the way. I have screws to hold it in place, but I don't have the screws that I want. They'll be here tomorrow. And you can also see here that I put together a Molex connector, a couple actually. So I think I mentioned it in one of the last videos that I kind of have to have the back like faceplate done before I can do anything else. Installation wise, that is, on the back. And I thought to myself, that is bullshit. There is no excuse that the only thing that should be holding me up from being able to put this amp together is the fact that this Schurter, voltage selector has to be soldered hard, which means I can't take it out once I put it in. I was like, that is bullshit. There's no way that I'm going to get away with that. Lone Dog, what's going on, my man? Hell yeah, dude. That's great to know. I'm glad that YouTube is doing their job. So I thought about it. I found the type of connector that I want, which will fit through the hole. Yay, right? So now I can take this thing apart with it attached. Now, I do have to have two different connectors because the 6-pin won't fit in there. But I need two different connections anyway. One connection, this one here, is going to go actually to the power well, let me rephrase. Comes from this guy, right? And then the rest of these here go actually to the power transformer, because the power transformer only has 4, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4 connections, the ones that come off of this guy here. So that should allow this thing to be modular enough that I can take it apart and put it back together. These are Molex connectors. These are the real deal. These are the Mini Juniors, I guess. No fruit yet. Not yet. No fruit. But, so yeah, just little things like that I've been kind of doing. It's getting things done in the back end. I don't think you really need to see how a Molex connector goes together. Most people haven't ever. Maybe we'll show it. I gotta do the female side on one of them at least. So maybe I'll show you how that one goes together when the time comes. Because that is the one. Hold on, let me make some space here. I got crafty the other day and did some braiding. So I braided all 4 of these wires here into one little loom. That one there, this loom, will go into this guy here. And, I got to figure out what length before I can do that, though. It's not that easy. I got to wait until this is installed before I can install this. So, more or less, we just kind of need to get all the peripheral crap done. Once that stuff is kind of done, though, it'll go relatively quick. I can't imagine that we're going to spend too much more time on the building aspect of things. Like I say, once we get all the holes drilled and all that, it'll be pretty well put together. John was kind of giving me some crap the other day. He was like, what even are you? That's not exactly what he said, but like, what even are you? He was kind of teasing me about how my company doesn't really seem to have a direction or a vision. Something that's, singular that personifies me in a way, I guess, if you will. And he's kind of right. I've said it in a couple videos over the past that you're watching a company come up from the ground up, realistically. Literally come up from the ground up. I don't have anything yet. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do per se. I'm not stuck on any one particular thing. We've talked a bit about like naming conventions and stuff like that. Cross cancellation. I don't know if it actually does or not. Doing it the way that I'm doing it, I don't know if it actually does. I know that they say to twist it and it helps get rid of noise. I don't know if that gets rid of noise or not. I just know that not many people do that, and it's kind of my thing, so I do it. I don't have a problem with noise. So until I do, I'll continue to do it that way. But I know we were talking about like naming conventions, and I prefer to have one word names. So if I'm going to have a name, like this amp here behind me is called the Atlas, right? Atlas is one word, makes sense. You know what it is by listening to it. Yeah, right. You got to start somewhere, and I guess I'm trying to garner enough of a fan base, if you will, to try to find that direction. That basically your guys' input and just kind of who's going to end up being my market, if you want to call it that, will kind of dictate, I think, where I'm going to end up having to go. Whatever. I want to stick towards not necessarily like ultra high end. I don't want to call it ultra high end, but realistically, ultra high end is kind of what I want to do. No corners cut, I guess, is more or less it. Like, I think there are better builders out there than me. I think they maybe they have better wiring, all the fun stuff, whatever. They can do it better, but at the end of the day, it still has to sound good and be fun to play. I like to think that's where I kind of come in with some of my designs, is that they fill that particular role. The amps do the thing, right? Not a thing, the thing. So that's the goal. And as far as the quality, I always say, if you like the orange drops, use the orange drops. If you like the Jupiters, use the Jupiters. If you want to use the Synergy products, use the Synergy products. Pick one and be done. It doesn't really matter. Just pick one and go. The resistors, I don't really think they make that much of a difference. Not enough where, you have to break your neck or, shake your sister upside down or something like that to get the answers out. But, again, just kind of pick one and run with it. If you want to use carbon film, go for it. If you want to use the generic metal film, go for it. If you want to use carbon composition and whatever, go for it. Neither one of those options is going to make or break it. It's going to be how you built it and the sum of all parts that's going to make that amp be what it is. So don't necessarily think that just because you spent the most amount of money and got the absolute best parts all together that it's going to be the best amp in the world. It's a sum of all parts. Psionic Audio said it before, that just about anybody can put a kit together, but there is a difference between who put the kit together. And there are people that can really do some magic with it. And, not only does it look the part, but it's well done. Their layout makes sense. No. They put the kit together in such a way where it just works. And again, sum of all parts hysteresis is a true thing. Just because you put a 22.1K resistor in there doesn't necessarily mean it's 22.1K. Might be a little bit different. Riley, what is going on? Good to see you. And then there's just, everybody's kind of got their own little thing, their little ism. I call them isms. There's just something that everybody does that's a little bit different than the next guy. Spent electrons. We got everybody here. I'm loving this. This is great. So you know what I mean? Like, there's not any one magic whistle or whatever you want to call it that's going to just make it come to life. Obviously, you guys really have never heard any of my products before. I think you've maybe heard 3 in total of the different amps in their actual true form over the course of the several years that I've been doing this. My intention is to start doing more sound samples here in the near future. My biggest thing was that I was trying to have a lineup of amps first. So this is these giveaways are kind of a distraction from that. Like, obviously, I could probably be better off actually finishing these amps that are half built. But I kind of thought it to be like a challenge, right? It's kind of a one-off because it hasn't been done. So, you know, the last one was kind of a, what do you want to call it? It was already kind of tried and true, right? But it was designed in my way. The 5E3 style amp that we did for the last giveaway. Like, it's not a stretch to think that you can change a couple things around it and get it to work, but that's more or less what I did. I modified a 5E3 to kind of my spec, if you will, and it turned out great. I think you can find the sound samples that are real mics. That's a real microphone on the ground here through a cabinet that I have. I recorded that, and that is what that amp sounded like when you did what I did with it. So it gives you a good idea of where we're going with it. Now, the recording that you heard the other day of the, it's basically called the Red Rocket, which is this amp that you see right here. The Red Rocket, which I'm going to call the RR, probably RR50, but in either case, all of that was recorded through a Torpedo Captor X. I'm not going to bother showing it. You know what a Torpedo Captor X is. I did use a stock IR, though. It's one of the IRs that are in that device, right? So I'm not playing any tomfoolery with it. I did turn up the, what do they call it? The double track feature a little bit, just to make it more fun to play. The double track feature is kind of the winning thing about the Torpedo Captor X. But I didn't use any of the EQ. I didn't do anything tricky with it. I don't even think I moved the mic, to be honest. I might have turned one of the mics off. I can't recall off the top of my head, but it's whatever that stock IR is, just mildly modified. So that's what that is going to do. I think this one's going to be very, very close, if not a little bit more gain or push, whatever you want to call it. Now, because of that, and the fact that I was playing it literally through a Torpedo Captor X, means I don't have any interaction, no room interaction. So like Riley today in his live, where he was able to get the singing feedback for almost seemingly forever, it would probably do that if you were literally sitting in front of it at the levels that you'd be playing it at for that. So I have several amp designs that will do that. At pretty much bedroom playing levels, you can get it to sing almost indefinitely. But a lot of depends in that. Now, obviously, once you turn it up, we know that it will, but in either case, that's where we're going. That's what we're up to. We're trying to figure out where we're going to go. Naming convention, I don't like 2 words. I like single words, or I like acronyms. So I think we've kind of settled it on this particular amp that we're going to call it. I shortened it down. I think we selected LD7-50. I'm going to forego the L. So I'll maybe put my L for, you know, Luke or Legacy, excuse me, Legacy Amplification somewhere else. And I'm going to call it the DVII, so D7, so DVII-50. It seemed to look kind of cool to me. I was poking around trying to come up with different ideas, and that was the one that kind of stuck out. So it'll be the DVII-50. So it'll still be whatever. What the D stands for is yet to be decided. But I think it's gonna, the D might have to go for dimension, design, or something like that. I really don't want it to be design. I'd like it to be called the Dimension 7 or something like that, but whatever. Or the Big D. We'll come across that bridge when we get there. For right now, though, it's going to be DVII-50. All right, so enough of the chitty chat, enough of the BSing around. Let's watch me struggle trying to get a couple of jacks out of these things. I don't know how this is going to go. Historically, it's a pain in the ass because you have to basically get at least 2 of these things melted off at the same time. And I think I'm out of fresh tips. So on my tip, the thing sticks out a little bit there. So I don't even know if this is going to work. I don't really want to cut the things out, but if I have to, that's where I'll go. So I'm going to give it a college try. We're going to give it a college try. Oh, some other things too. I guess not that it really matters, but I did get all the different rosins in. I did get the eutectic stuff, which is at 6337. Doing some more reading on it, more or less, there's nothing special about this. It's just that it's a 6337 blend. It just has a very specific melting point. And I guess the whole eutectic thing means that it just has this very narrow range where it goes from either solid to liquid. And it's a very small window of heat or temperature where it exists in either state. Whereas this other stuff here, the normal stuff here, tends to have a plastic state, I guess is what they say it. So it's malleable or something like that. Whereas this one just crosses from liquid to a solid a little bit quicker. I also did get the size that I actually like of this. So this is that super thick shit, and this is the more normal stuff. For now, I'm gonna stick with the thick stuff until it bothers me. If it doesn't bother me, I'll burn through it. And, you know, it took a couple years to burn through that other stuff, but we'll see. If this stuff starts bothering me, we'll stash it away and I'll go back to the crap I actually like. But for now, I'm gonna see about getting this thing off. I think it would probably be wise if I bust it out with one of these, because I don't think we're gonna have a heat problem on my mat, but whatever. we'll play it safe. So definitely talk amongst yourselves. There's 12 of you right now, so you know, chitty chat with each other. You know, posit questions my way. How many solder, flux, solder, whatever crap do I use? I really try to use one. I prefer the thin stuff like this. I'll show you what I mean here. So this stuff here is pretty beefy compared to this stuff here. These are both the same. So yeah, this is the 60/40, and you can't see it because I peeled off the freaking tape. But this is also 60/40. I've always liked the 60/40. I've never really had a problem with it. The problem with 60/40 is that it does stay liquid, and then it goes into that plastic state that they were talking to. So you have to hold the thing that you're trying to solder pretty still and let it solidify. That's why they say you're not supposed to blow on this stuff, because it will cause it to move, and then it'll mess up the solder joint. I haven't had that much of a problem, so I don't know, but I'll try the eutectic crap. And you can tell that I was playing with the eutectic stuff because it's not trying to melt this stuff very fast. And you got to be careful with this stuff. You can see it right there. That is flux. That's the one thing I'm not liking about this, is that thicker wire does seemingly have a little more flux in it. And I'm going to see if I can melt this stuff out. But I don't know what type of flux they used either, so hopefully this is going to work. I don't know that it will, but we're going to give it a shot either way. No, it ain't going to work. I can already tell I'm going to have some hell to pay. So what I'm going to try to do is get the solder to flow down to the bottom of this joint here. I don't think I'm going to be able to pull this off. The other thing that you can try to do is get both to melt at the same time, but that's also challenging in and of itself. And it seems like the stuff that they use is some pretty stout stuff. Stout stuff. So I'm not able to get it to melt, so I am going to add some more heat. I'm tired of futzing with it, so. And I'm going to try to just work it out here. And as you can tell, I'm already having a hell of a time. This is not going to go my way, I can already tell. And that is hot. So this is where a reflow bench or something like that is helpful. So a reflow bench is like a pool. It's like a pool literally of solder, and you just set the part in it and it melts solder, and then you just pluck the thing out. I don't have one of those, so hold on here while I freaking try to find ways to play God. Because why not? Because why the heck not? So I'm going to add a little bit of solder. And that is doing pretty good. I know, this is embarrassing, guys. I'm telling you right now, this is not what my idea of fun is. I don't really like dealing with PCB crap. And you can kind of see why. You can kind of see why. Come on. Come on, baby. I know you want to move. Don't you laugh at it. So I got it to move. I felt it move there a little bit. So that's good. It is starting to come. Starting to come. I hope this isn't a double-sided though, because if it's double-sided, that can be scary at times. Because what will happen is it'll pull the one side out because you don't melt it all the way. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So if you look here, you can see, if it would focus, try to get it to focus here. You can just barely see it, but you can kind of see it blobbed up down there. That's solder that's flowed through the joint. And if it's double-sided, which this one doesn't appear to be, sometimes what can happen is that you'll end up borking the trace on that side that you're pulling it through, which is obviously no good. So I'm also trying not to destroy the PCB trace. If you reef on it too much, it can cause other problems. You can actually get the PCB hot enough that it'll kind of melt, if you will. But it is starting to come to be, what's the word, challenging. So what I'm going to do at this point, since I'm not intending to keep these things, I have it up far enough that I can cut it. So I'm going to cut it there. Now I know that I can get this thing out much, much easier, much, much safer, I should say. Because now I can get one side at a time. So let's see if I can do this now. Damn, these things are in there good. It's the downside of this kind of stuff here. There it goes. And it's just baby steps. Just want it to move ever so slight. Come on. Side's not letting, there it goes. See how it moved? I don't know if you can see it, if it moved or not, but I did. Come on, baby. Come on. There it is. That one came out all the way. All right, so I got just a little bit hanging in here. Let's see if I can get this to melt all the way down. And boop, there it goes. So I had to cut 2 of the legs off. And there you have it. Now I got to get these other 2 little legs out that are currently in there. So I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to see if I can do this from the top here. I'm probably not going to be able to be honest. So I'm just going to pull it out from the bottom. There it goes. Boop. There's that little chunk. You do want to be careful, though. I'm telling you, you do want to be careful because you can pull traces. If you get it too hot, it will pull the trace, which is ungood, obviously. You don't want to do that. And dang it, this thing is making me work. I don't have anything to bite it with. And I probably need to add some solder to this thing. That's what I'm guessing. And we'll clean it. Clean it as well. I think they make a suction cup. Yeah, they do. So I kind of have like that little suction cup thing, and I will use that here in a minute. It works a little bit better for cleaning it up after you've got the holes emptied, but in this case here, it's just being stubborn anyway. So what's happening now is my freaking my little vices here are eating up all the heat. Oh my god, it's just gonna fucking make me work. I just want you to give me the freaking part. There it is. All right. Let's make sure I didn't pull any tracing over. Doesn't look like we did. I think we're going to be all right in that regard. Putting it on is usually a little bit easier, but yeah, that's where you get this guy here, which is, you can see we got something sucked up at some point, but then you can use this guy here and generally suck it on, or suck it through, but you kind of have to play God, because then you end up having to do it from the opposite side. But there it went. I don't know. I don't have enough head on that one to do this. So I'm probably going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is where you heat it up and you wait for it to get liquid and then you just blow through it. It's the least fun way to do it, but it is a way to do it. It does work. Another thing you can do is just set the part on there and it will do its thing. There it goes. That one did it. Never mind me while I be rude here. Sorry, everybody. And that didn't go. There it went. The wife is home. One left to go. Isn't this the most amazing thing you've ever seen in your entire life? Watching some dude dick around the freaking PCB board. There it is. All right. So now you can see we have cleared the holes. All right. Yay. Let me clean up my mess a little bit. Then this next one getting off is going to be less than fun. And I've got freaking solder splattered all over the front here. Amaze balls. All right. What do we got here? You know, I got it's a pretty appropriate tip. This one's a little bit worn out, like, so it's probably not ideal. A little bit tighter would be better, but it's a pretty sizable tip for what it is. But you can see it did have a flat side on there at one point, but it's just, this tip is a couple years old. It's done pretty good for me though. It's not acting like a used tip too much. Whatever I did the other day, I was kind of bitching and moaning that it was pissed off at me, and it was. Well, whatever it was I did since then has seemed to resolve its issue, because it is definitely working much better now. And this thing is buried behind a couple of parts, so I don't know how easy it's going to be to get this side out. I might have to, let's see if I can get it from this side here. I might have to cut this side off, or try to cut it out first. We're going to see. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to do what I can, but let's see here. Come on, baby. It does not want to budge yet. Come on, I know you want to move. Let's get maybe a little bit closer. Maybe I got more torque and I get right up on it. There it goes. Started to move anyway. Damn, that thing is in there. Come on. There it went. Sheesh. You hear it all squeaking and stuff. I'm trying not to reef on this thing too much, but there it goes. All right, I think that's as far as we're going to get it without getting too evil. I'm going to try to cut it and we'll go from there. Sorry, I know this is not exactly exciting, but this is what it takes. This is what it takes. There we go. All right, who that? Nope, nothing to worry about. All right, I seemingly don't need this thing either, so I'm gonna put this away. All right. Thank you for all your guys' patience while I grieve. This is not my idea of fun right now, to be honest. But this will be worth it. It's going to be totally freaking worth it. And I really want to be careful here. I don't want to bork anything else here. So we're going to get this thing in at the angle of the dangle here. And get in there. Come on. Damn, this one's being stubborn too. Sometimes you just got to get a little heat in there, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can just yank it out, sort of. I want to try to pull instead of twist it. It does not really want to move, though. So, what is this thing's major malfunction? It is moving. It has moved. What the problem is now is I need to get the back to do the same. So I'm going to work the back side now. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you guys. I am really trying not to beat this thing up any more than I need to. So I'm trying to take it easy. I'm trying to be gentle on it. This is why I hate PCBs. To be honest, this is why techs hate PCBs. Because they are just not fun to work on, period. There it went. There it goes. What do we got in here? I need to not be reefing on that too much. All right. Is this going to be for all the tea in China? That one was for all the tea in China. Now let's see if I can get this side. Okay. That's pretty dang close right there. I think I can get it with my own hands now. There's that one. There's that one. All right. Yay. And it does not look like I took any traces with it. So we did good. We got a win out of that. And it doesn't look like I fucked anything else up. Sweet. All right. So now we got to get those other little pieces out. Oh, joy. Just when we thought we were done. Ah, didn't go? Nope. Really? Come on. There it goes. Boop. This is so painful to watch. So painful to watch. Come on. Come on. Come on. Really? Seriously? Get the fuck out. Thank you. Sorry. Not yelling at you. Alright, let's see if we can do this now. I think I did it from behind this last time. Alright. Perfect. So I'm trying to blow before I actually take the iron off, because I want it to be molten still when I actually get air pressure on it, because I don't want it to solidify. And, you know, spray it everywhere anyway. So, all right. Yay! Let's make sure I clean off my stuff. There we go. All right. Brutal. Freaking brutal. All right. Well, let's clean off some of this flux down here. Luckily, the flux just kind of flakes off for the most part. We can clean it up a little bit more later on. Again, I don't see any traces exposed, so that's good. Okay, so now, let's get these guys put in. Watch, they're not going to fit or something. I'd be so bummed. I'm kidding. We know they're going to fit. Holy shit, there's still 9 of you here watching this crap? I'll be gall darned. Alright. Alright, so we're going to get this one in first. And I think the way I want to do this is I'm going to set it down so it'll just sit there. And I need a drink after that. Alright, let's do this. So I want to do kitty corners here. Alright, so that appears to be down. And then we're going to get this corner here. Ow, that thing's still a little warm. I touched the tip of this. And then what I want to do is push this corner down as well. Okay, kitty corners I know are taut. And then I want to do the same for the rest. Come on, melt on in there. Tweet like a twiga. All right, one more little corner here. Alrighty then. And that already looks so much better. I can tell that's right up the middle. Or very, very close to it anyway. Looks like we could probably push down on the front just a little bit, but I think we got it as far down as it will allow me to go. Alright, let's get this other one in. I'm going to take out the whatchamacallits here so we don't risk losing them or anything. And in you go. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. All right. All right. I like that. Just a couple more to go here. And one more to go. Okay. I'm quite smitten with that. There it is. So now they are all in line. It looks like it might be a little on the tall side for one of those. It looks like maybe it, fuck if it would focus, but much, much closer, much, much further in line than it was before. All right. Yay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we're golden. We good. We good. And I want this plastic thing here. I may not need these plastic bushings. We'll see. I don't think technically I need them because I'll be going through 2 mil of chassis and 2 mil, well, 1/16 inch worth of faceplate. So I probably won't need those bushings that are there. It'll sit flush pretty much the whole way. There it is. Now this thing is set to go. So the effects loop is now actually ready for installation. Yay. Let's turn this guy off. I think we're done with the soldering aspect of things today. O to the M to the G. Now, let me clean off some crud here because I got freaking literally solder freaking splattered everywhere. There we go. Sorry, I like keeping clean house. I'm rude and crude, but I like clean house. All right. Yay! That was brutal. Let's mark out some holes and drill some holes. That's what I want to do now. Let's do that. I want to get this thing installed. So we're actually going to do this now. So to my understanding, this thing here was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like 3.5 inches on center or something like that. And that would be correct. 3.5 inches to center. And I believe it was 1 1/8 inch on each of these things to center. And that looks to be correct as well. 1 1/8, and then it would be basically 1 1/4 or 2 1/4, and then, well, I guess it's technically not 3.5, but 3 3/8. Right? Yeah, 1 1/8, 2 1/4, and then 3 3/8. That seems to be correct. Let me take these things back off so I can reconfirm again. These are going in the trashola. I will keep the other ones, the parts that are here. You can just see them right there, but I'll keep those. I'll stuff them in my future fuck it bucket, if you want to call it a fuck it bucket. Yeah, that is 1 1/8 for shizzle, and it lands on 3 3/8. Okay. So that means from Le Center. All right, let's go through and make sure. Let's see what I missed here or not. I don't want to ignore you guys. I burn myself all the time, believe it or not. Can duster, an air compressor, that does help. There's, you know, like 30. You know, Lone Dog, you're not wrong. I have other tips. I have, you know, like the chisel tip and the ones with the more fine points and stuff like that. But that one is, it works for like 99% of what my world does. And it's a bitch and a half to have to change it all the time. So, the huge 5 watt, no, and that's a 10 watt resistor. Absolutely not. So what this thing here is for, because this thing is powered off a B+. So this is coming off the 330 volt rail, which then means that this thing here has to dump probably, well, I mean, it's probably dumping it down to about 12 volts. So it's dumping quite a bit of voltage out of the circuit. So I don't think you went overkill. And this thing is the right one. This is the siliconized, I can't remember what they call it exactly, but whatever the siliconized stuff is, that is the right type of material actually for, right type of resistor for this job, if you will. All right, so now that we know that this thing has 3 3/8 inches of that, the unit in and of itself is basically 4 1/4 inches. At least I'm going to treat it like it's 4 1/4 inches. I can't go there and I can't go there. So I've got essentially 5 inches of space in between these things. Yay. So let's do the math on that, I guess. Damn. This is going to be less than fun to do, to be honest. I'm not really good with the math on that kind of crap, but if I've got 6 inches literally from, no, I can't do it from there. I'm going to have to do it from here. So I would have technically 5 inches from part to part, like literally touching. So when this thing here goes there, and I measure from there literally to the end there, I'll have it just about 5 inches on the dot, literally between them. So I'm going to treat that as kind of my middle, if you will. It's a real show. It's a real show. It is official. Everybody, it is a real show. Okay. So now that we know it's a real show, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've just kind of centered it there, I think. 3, 4, 5-ish, yeah, something like that. Cool. So we want to go 1, 2.5. So if I treat that as the center, so let's get my square out. All right, so if I treat this as if it were the center, well, let's see where that lands in reality here. It's going to be different from each side, I think. So that lands at about 6.5 inches over there, so it's going to be a nice square number, or round number, or whatever. Not quite. It's 10 3/8 over here, depending on how you want to measure it out. 10 3/8, thereabouts. Let's look inside here. Let's get an idea of where this thing's going to land. I want to do this right, gosh darn it. I don't want to have any bad days. No bad days. All right, right? So we're going to just kind of softly mark our outer edges here. That is a safe zone. So I'm going based off of the actual like physical placement. So I thought I had about 5 inches. It's not quite 5. It's 4 7/8 inches, right? So whatever, 4 7/8. It's 4 7/16 more or less, or 2 7/16 to get center. So, and that's pretty close to where I had it. It's not quite where I had it, but it's more like right here. So I'm going to treat that like the actual center, as if it freaking matters. So this will be middle. Okay, so that's the center of where this guy is going to land. All right, so this will actually kind of go in this direction here, I believe, because objectively this will sit right in the middle. And man, that looks like it's just going to work. It is going to freaking work. Woo! Talk about just getting it right. All right, so from there, we got to figure out whatever the freaking halves are of 1 1/8 out either way, right? So, shiza. 1 1/8. It's somewhere around like 1 5/8 or something, I think is where it kind of lands. Because that's 2 1/4. I really only have to bother with the 2 in between ones. So I guess we can just measure out each direction. So we know that we have 1 1/8. So it's basically, let's see here. It's 1/16 plus a half, right? So 1/16, so it'd be 7/16 more or less this way. So it should be there. And the other one should be half plus a 1/16 should be there, right? Does that make 1 1/8? That looks like 1 1/8 to me. So that's where our 2 center ones go. So let's just go ahead and do this now. And we're gonna get this one here. Now we got 2 y más. So we're gonna go 1 1/8. This time here, we can go the full pull, baby, full pull. So we're gonna go 1 1/8. I want that to be lined up just a little bit closer there. There's that one. And then over here, we're gonna do the same. Okay, 1 1/8. Boop, boop, be doop. Okay, and I can't do it on that side, so we gotta do it on this side, of course. And then this one here. All right. So now we have that. And then if I'm not mistaken, it's an inch up. You can't even see what I do, an inch up from the bottom. And I'm almost positive that's the case. So yes, it's 1 inch from the bottom. From le bottom. All right, so we're gonna go 1 inch. I'm just gonna do it by hand on each one, I guess. All right. Jeez, that was a little rough, but let's see here. We can use this as a straight edge, I guess. This will confirm that I didn't goof it up and that I actually went to centers. And as best as I can tell, it looks like I did pretty good. Yeah, ish. Close enough. Close enough. All right, so this is going to go like this. I have to get this right. So this has to go in there like that. All right, because I'm going all... It sucks that I have to do it. I guess I don't have to. I would prefer to do it this way, in this direction here, but it will touch because those aren't at the center line. So it won't work quite like that. So I have to turn it like this, which is unfortunate. So we're not going to get to see the fun kibbles and bits, but this thing should be fine right in here, and it'll actually go like right in there like that. But and you can see why I'm not too worried about how thick those things are. It'll go like that. Oh yeah, this thing's going to be golden. But does that make sense there, right? I guess this is one way we can kind of test here. Yeah, those all look like they're going to line up. Oh, I guess it'd be helpful if it were in the shot, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So that to me looks like center. Yeah, we're going to work. All right. So these ones here, I got to figure out what size hole that needs to be. And if it's anything like the other ones, I don't know that I can align it. I don't know that they're the same. I don't know that they're the same size hole. So let me just do the actual math. On, hey, what do you know? It's 0. All right. So it's 433, more or less 432, 433 for those. And then I'm pretty sure these other shafts are going to be pretty small. So let me see here. Let's get these guys off, I guess. Another thing I did was I did put the, I built this. I was talking about this before, so I made that little turret thing and shrunk it down and got it set up so we can get it put in. That was the only other thing I did without you guys, though. I didn't do much without you. I know I said I was going to do this all live, but there's just little things like, why would you watch that? So, let's just see here. And I'm pretty sure that these ones are 1/4 inch. If I'm not mistaken, they're probably the 1/4 inch pots, if I'm not mistaken. So we're shooting for 0.25 on these. Just a little over 0.25, 259. So we'll start with a 1/4 inch for those, and then we'll go up from there. All right, so let's mark that out. So these are going to go like this. So these two ones over here will be 1/4. So we're going to go 0.25. Oh my God, work pen. 25, 0.25. And the other one was 0.43. Oh gosh. Let's see here. I can't remember what size it is exactly. Hold on while I do some quick mathing over here. 0.43 is 7/16. Basically, it's going to be 7/16. 4375. So 7/16 will be just a little bit large, which actually probably isn't a horrible thing for that. So 7/16. So I'm not even going to bother with that. I'll just put 7/16. So 7/16. My God. 16, 7. I think I'm out of ink. All right. So let's get brave. Let's drill some more freaking holes, huh? Let me put some stuff away and clean out some space here. It's about to get real again. It's about to get real again. We're about to do some permanent shit. What is that? How's that song go? I'm gonna do some stupid shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. I'm gonna pluck off this flux while I'm here. I think it's cold enough now. We can get that to break away. I think, given as much flux is coming off already with just these few that I've done, I'm probably gonna go away from that thick rosin core and go back to the thinner stuff. I like how much solder it gets out there. Like, it gets a pretty good amount out in a good hurry, but it just seems to be a little on the messy side in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't need to be that messy, but we can come back later and clean some more of this up. But for now, yay. All right, whatever. Get over there, stay over there. All right, I want you here. I'm gonna need my centaur punch. I think we're gonna be able to get away with just using a unibit for the remainder of this. I am gonna do something else that I think is gonna be smart for me to do, and that's to remove this, because we don't want this to get tagged by a drill bit. Right. Just agree with me. Okay. I'm gonna punch a bunch of holes, and that rhymed. Punch a bunch. All right. You guys ready? I'm gonna do this. This might get loud. I apologize. There's only 6 of you, so it can't be all bad. Once I do this, though, it is basically permanent. It might just be smart of me to get rid of some of these other things. To be honest, I should probably get rid of these. I don't really need them in to do what we're doing. Let's see if I can get away with it like that. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right. All right. So these holes here is where this thing's gonna go. So this will go like that, right in there on the back side, and I got plenty of distance, and I'm pretty sure I got that lined up just so. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Let's make sure these holes, so we're measuring twice, we're cutting once. That's what we're doing right now, and I apologize. Hold on, let me make it so you're not seeing just my chin here. Give me just a second. Let me get to the right camera view here. Preset B. There we go. All right, imagine that. And then I lost my chat because, you know, there it is. Okay. Let's see here. Let's make sure I'm not missing too much of the chat. Well, the pots still rotate the same now that it's upside down. As far as I understand, yeah, it shouldn't matter. Because let's say you put it in there, it's going in there like this, right? So technically speaking, right, it's going in like this. So which direction is it going to be when we flip it up? So it'll be down, up. Oh, you couldn't even see that. My apologies. So it's going in like this, right? Right? And then when we flip it up, this is how it'll actually be. So all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up. All right? So I don't think it really matters. So even if I had it in this way, yeah, it wouldn't matter. Because if you put it in this way, right? So now it's the opposite direction. Even if you turn it all the way down, so counterclockwise, right? That way, it's still down. So it doesn't actually matter if it's this way or that way. When you turn the pot the right direction, it's still the right direction. That mirror imaging thing will get you, but not bad looking out though. It doesn't need to be that messy, but it ensures the art. Yeah, exactly. I wish it wasn't that messy, but you know, it is what it is. So let's see here. I just want to make sure that these holes also line up. Those holes are like spot the fuck on. So I'm happy with that. All right. I'm going to freaking ting some stuff out here. Just never mind me for a second here while I just do this. Well, that was weak. I think I got it right. So these things you got to hold at like just the right angle. There it is. And you. Yeah. That looks good. I'm going to do right there. And right here. All right. That is pushing down a little bit, but it's sinking into my thing, and so it feels like it's worse than it actually is. All right. Let's start at this end here. God, I really hope this is right. I don't know why I'm so freaking nervous. I mean, I can tell obviously that it's going to work. We're just going to have to do this. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work. Yeah. God damn it, I hate it when it does that. It's one of those Harbor Freight ones, so I've had it for freaking 20 years. It's the only reason I'm like stuck on stupid with the damn thing. It's like your first kid or something, you know what I mean? They get away with murder. Looks square to me. All right, I'm going to get brave. I'm going to put this guy in as well. That one came out pretty center. I didn't put the size on that one. So this one sucks. It's not a 1/2 inch. It's not 7/16. It's like some size in between two sizes that I don't have. That's why I wish I had a freaking reamer, but whatever. And then these other ones up here aren't perfect either. They're some other rando size, you know what I mean? They're like in between every size I freaking have. That's all you need to know. So I might just drill the pilot holes for these and then come back to it later. But for now, that is all the holes dinked out. So now it's time to drill with a pilot. So let's get a pilot. Now I got to be careful because these I'm going to use M3s. I know it's metric, but it's the right size for these things. These things are meant to work with M3s, and same with these. I moved it. I don't know where I moved it to, but the little turret board that's right here. There it is. I just had it in my hand. So the hole in here, if I didn't want to enlarge in it, I usually use 6/32 on those, but I don't like using M3s if I don't have to. So this one I'm going to use M3s. Now this one here, I'm going to countersink it into the back there, so you'll never see these screws. In theory, this piece right here is never, ever meant to come out, so this one will be double, count it, double freaking locked in there. So I'll use 2 of the thread locked, you know, the whatever you want to call them. So this thing is never meant to come loose or out. So just so you know, we are taking that one very serial. So I want to make sure that the hole size that I use as a pilot is the right size for everything. At least for the 4 holes over here in the left side, or right side, excuse me. Doo-doo-doo-doo. These things freaking bite. Alright, let's see here. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's getting warm in the garage right now, let me tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a very hot week over here in California. It has been in the 90s, and depending on where you're at, some areas in the 100s. This is the bit I'm going to use to pilot everything, because I know it will work for the 3mm things and the M3 bolts or whatever. So we're going to start with that, and then we'll go up from there for the remainder of things. All right, so I'm gonna get these guys done first, and we'll go from there. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. All right, get this stuff off of here. Make sure I still hit everything. And it doesn't fit from that side, of course. And those look very centered enough that I don't have to worry. Okay, let's get the rest of these done up real quick then. Alright, that takes care of my pilot holes. I got lucky there. This thing luckily doesn't rotate far enough to get into any of those, but it wasn't for lack of freaking trying. So that being the case, and that these aren't ready to go on yet, let's get them out of here, because I don't need to tempt any more fate than we already have. At least with these guys. Try not to destroy things. Alright. Cool. We got a bunch more holes. Yay! Alright. So we got a pilot hole. Now we're going to go up to the next size. This size is the one that I want to get that is correct for the 3M. So I think that's a 3/32 will work for that, if I'm not mistaken. It's like the size. I need it to be a little bit bigger. Is 7/64 too big though? Ooh, no, 7/64 is like the size. All right, we're gonna go with 7/64. That should work relatively well for the M3 bolts. We're gonna find out right meow, of course, but. The fuck? Hold up. A little off center there. I don't want that. There it is. Ha ha! Ha ha ha! Alright. Okay. See how close or not we are. I think should be too tight still. It is. I could go with an eighth of an inch. I may have to, because I don't think I have anything in between that, but I don't know how much bigger that is. It is air. Like, I'll have space around it. I'm gonna leave those. I'll go with 1/8 inch for the one for the PEM, because I know that I could use the room anyway. Not worried about literally a little bit of an air gap there. That one's going to get held in with lock nuts as well. There it is. So that should freaking slide on in there. Ooh, that's actually sized very well for that. So the only reason I want to wait on those guys is because I do need to countersink it. So since I'm here, let's get those fit while we're at it. Let's just get it fit. Because those ones are going in there anyway, so. Yeah, baby. Yeah, I have to go bigger on this one for sure. Okay, let's see how close we are now. Might be a bit on the big side, might not be, I don't know. No, not yet. Not yet. So countersinking tends to largen the hole at the bottom. That's why I'm trying to not enlarge the base size hole yet, because I don't want it to make it so it turns into a hot dog in a hallway type of situation. So I can already tell that this is still not large enough. So now it might be. If it doesn't fit at this point in time, then I'll go to the 1/8 inch, because it hasn't seemed to bust all the way through. But you can see it's actually starting to want to thread in there now. Like, it's already better than it was. And I still think I need a little bit more, actually. Ooh, that's going to be really close. Let's just go with the 1/8 inch. All right. So now I know it's going to fit. Ooh, yeah, we got to go in just a little bit deeper yet still. Tighten up, you little turd. I'm going to go with a different one of these. I want, where'd you go? This one. Stay. Ooh, that might work. This side is feeling pretty good. This side here I think I might have gotten, but I'd rather it sink below than sit above, because there is a panel, you know, obviously the back panel is going on there. Faceplate, whatever you want to call it. So I don't want to piss it off too much. I want it to be like absolutely know it's shallow. That one's good. And pretty sure this one is as well. It's tough to say because the plastic's around it. So I'm just going to give it one more freshen up on this right hand side. Alright, pretty sure this is good now. Oh yeah, okay. So there's that. So we'll deburr the inside. Burp. Alright. Let's see what we can get away with here. I know that we need to go 1/4 inch for those. So let's just go up to my 1/8 inch for now. I'm just going to get this one bigger because I know it needs to be that way. I'm going to hold off on some of those other ones for a minute. So these ones here I want to wait on because I might just order tonight the right type of drill bit, or see if they have one in stock at like Home Depot or something. They work fine on aluminum. I love aluminum. It's just easier to work on, to be honest. Like it just makes life a lot easier. But it is a little, I guess not more forgiving or less forgiving. It's somewhat scary still because it is really soft. So when the bit starts walking or something binds, like if you catch a bit and it binds, it will bend. And when it bends, life sucks. We're not quite at 1/4 inch yet, so we're going to keep on going with this size here. And I know that this one's still larger, so I'm going to do this one as well. Okay, I think I'm in a comfortable enough spot. We can go with the unit bit. Although, it would be nice to just do 1/4 inch and be done with it for those. Let me double check and make sure 1/4 inch is the size I want. 1/4 inch is definitely going to be a little on the small side. So I am going to go with 1/4 inch for those first two. And then we'll get the rest with the unit bit. And I want to double check real quick. I was a good boy. I have not hit anything I'm not supposed to. All right, so let's go. Okay. Now, this should not yet fit, and it does not. So we're gonna have to obviously go a little bit bigger still, so it's just a little over 1/4 inch. I have to see if I have something. There's a 5/16 that's next up in line. That ain't gonna work. So I think I can get away with whatever's next on here, because this is 1/4 inch, and then it goes up to, what is it? I don't know, whatever the next size up is. Something 64ths or 32nds. All right, let's get this thing out of here. I'm pretty sure you go there. You do. You're my 1/4 inch. You go. That one's actually not 1/4 inch. No, it is. It's just loose. Loose as a goose. Santa's not going to help those in situations. Right? Dude, you can never have everything you need at the freaking time you need it, though. I swear to God, it's just... As much as I'd love to freaking have every tool on the planet, I can't get the wife to the store enough. Alright, let's just double check on that. Okay, that is still not going to fit. So I am going to go the next size up, because these seem to go in nice increments. There we go. And I don't mind if it's just a little on the big side. Just a little. Like, it's okay if it's just a little on the fat side. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Okay, so that is now fitting in there quite nice like. So far, so freaking good. All right. We may need to even go a little bit bigger, but I will use a file, I think, for the remainder of that. 7/16. Here we come. So this is probably where we want to mark this thing, because that is several sizes up. And fuck if I could see it. I don't think this one actually has 7/16. This one goes up to 1/2 of an inch. 1/2 of an inch is smaller than 7/6 or bigger than 7/16. So we're just gonna go up a little bit. We'll just keep going a little ways. Going slow. I'm going slow. I don't want to freaking perk it up yet. We got a ways to go yet still. I'm quite positive of that. So I did buy extras of those because I was smart. I say I was smart because I wasn't sure how this was going to go. So I bought two more than I needed, which is great because that means I get to use one of these to size with. Yay! And obviously I know I need to go bigger. So let's go bigger. Oh, okay, we're gonna stop there. Still think it's too small, but we're gonna double check. Ooh, that fits like a dream. Good thing I didn't go any further. Almost blew it. Almost freaking blew it. So is this size right? Yeah, that's the one. Exactly the size. Got lucky. I was thinking for a half a second, I need to go one more. Remember, like I said, always stop short. If you have that urge to go one more, don't do it. Refrain. I'm going to use my little angle device here. Gotta get one of these. These things are freaking amazeballs for this. Does the biz, man. Okay. That takes care of the back side there for that. Let's double check and get the front side now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and peel off the tape at this, or whatever. At this point, I know this is no longer serving a purpose for me anymore. Let's try not to get this stuff everywhere. Owie! Alright. So this is kind of our moment of truth, if you will. I'm pretty certain I still need to go bigger for these guys, but we're going to find out kind of more or less right now. Yeah, everything's just a little bit off, but it will function. So I do need to go bigger with those other ones. It's just ever so slightly off. It's a little tight. Just a little bit tight. Not too bad though. It's within reason. Like, it will fit. In fact, there. It fits. What do you know? Ha ha! It is a little bit tighter than I'd like it to be, but it is in there. That will function. Now, if only I didn't bend my freaking resistor. That would have been mo better. There it is. All right. Makes sense? So that'll fit down in there. Now, here's the next thing, if you will. If I put this thing back down in there, I'll put this thing away here. Is it starting to come together for you guys? Is this like getting there enough for you? Is it starting to become more real, I guess is the term for it? Burp. Excuse me. Burpy, burpy. There's that. Now, this is the part for all the tea in China, because if it actually hits, well, I put a bunch of holes in there for nothing, and that would freaking suck. But I know it's not going to, we're going to be fine. And if you wouldn't mind, thank you. And I can see a butt ton of air down there. I know you guys probably can't tell, but you can see that there's obviously some air down there. So nothing's going to hit. On this side of the board, there's really nothing in there anymore. Just a couple of small resistors, and it will not be in the way. So we have the clearance, and I got tape stuck to my shoe. All right, so let's see what else I can get done here. Let's see if I can get the hole size for these figured out. Hopefully we can do that. I'm also going to, since I'm here, get the other holes deburred, because I know that those are done at least. Okay. Stop moving. Oh, I gotta tear that thing back out. It's in my way. There it is. I need it out anyway. I kind of boned myself by putting the jacks in first before getting those holes done, because now I got to figure out how to drill those things and deburr them with all this stuff here in the way. That's not going to be pleasant. See what I mean? Like, I can't get the gun in there. So those holes are going to be less than fun to deburr, but you can kind of get an idea. In either case. We're going to figure it out, but it is not ideal. That one just wants to be stubborn. Ow! That one I didn't get all the way, apparently. There it is. I want this one, and it's at the right angle. There it is. All right, that one's good. Do the Macarena. All right, so I can pretty much install this at the moment, but I have to do some other jumps in the back. So the way this one's going to work, or the way I'm going to do it, I'm in debates. Part of me wants to just stick this thing in there and be an asshole. So it'll go in like that, and then bend the leads over and up into the backside there. But then you'll have to cut this thing. You'll have to remove it if you ever need to replace this thing. So I'm not going to be that evil. I'm probably going to do something like that right in there, solder it in place. Now the other ones I'll probably solder from the back, or I'll put them in from the top, but I want to cover those leads. In theory, I should probably cover those leads. Those are 120 volts that'll be sitting on those things. So there will be some angry pixies sitting on this thing, but that'll live right down in here like so, right? Makes sense. Now, this thing does have quite a bit of heat. Luckily, this thing will be in there, so it'll be near the top, right? It'll be near this point here. I thought about drilling a hole there, but it isn't going to do any good because that's where the freaking shield is, of course, for the power transformer. So it's going to dump heat out into the amp anyway. There's no way around it, but it gets pretty warm. Those thermistors actually do get pretty warm, but I'm not too super duper worried about it being a problem. It won't hurt anything. It will have space around it, because the PEM goes above it by a bit, right? You'll have, you know, a good ½ inch of clearance or more. So it is what it is in that regard. All right, so let's see if we can find the hole size for these furkers. The part that I'm actually kind of worried about, because as I recall, it is not a size that I have, which bums me the furk out. But I'm happy that I'm drilling holes. I'm happy that we're finally getting somewhere with this build. Let's see here. What's the closest size? 7/32. Is that too big? So 7/32 is like exactly the size of these things. Maybe a little bit too small. So I'm going to go with a 7/32. That's what I'm going to go with. So we're going to jump up in sizes to that. So I think I already went to 1/8 of an inch. So let's go ahead and get like an 11/64 or something in there. Okay. Now I do need to be careful, because if this thing sucks in, it'll go all the way into my jack, or into my whatchamacallit there. So I want to make sure I don't furk these ones up. So I am going to kind of do this a little off shot here, but and this bit is apparently done, because it won't even freaking drill through. Okay, we're done. We're done with that bit. I'm gonna go with the next size up. That's some bullshit right there, is what that is. So a 7/32 bit, note to self, is dust. So I'm gonna go with the next size down, or up, or whatever. It's time for some new bits, apparently. Ooh, did you see how it sucked it in there? Maybe you didn't, but I got lucky. It didn't hit anything, but still not cool. I don't like that. Nope, nope, don't like that at all. And this doesn't fit. That is good. All right, let's get those other two holes drilled. God darn it. Jeez. All right. 7/32. Double check here on that. Yeah, this should be just too small, I believe. Why is that so crooked? Yeah, that'll work. All right. Damn. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I want it to not fit, okay? So we're shooting for not fit, and that is not fit. So that is good. So that means we now need to enlarge in the hole somehow or another. Ow. By either... My ancient Johnny Homeowner tools are absolutely fantastic. I love my old stuff, man. I got some Black & Decker Pecker records that are freaking still kicking ass, man. Taking names. If I can Black & Decker's old stuff back when they were good. It's hard to beat, believe it or not. Okay, let's see here what we can do here. Man, it is ever just so slightly too small. I don't think I have a tween size on that. That was literally my problem before. It was like, even this guy with as many tween sizes as it has, it's either like way too big. Let's just double check here. I think I factored it out at some like random tiny ass size. Can't remember what it was. Survey says 2.25. Basically 2.25 or 2.6. 241, that's too big. And then 208, yeah. So it's like nothing quite at the exact size. So, fudge. Alright, whatever. You ever watch a man file something before? There's part of me that wishes I had, like, oh my gosh. So even my freaking file's almost too big. I'm going to try to treat it like a reamer, though. I got to be careful, though. I guess I don't have to. You'll never see it so long as I get the freaking, whatchamacallit. That will function. That will function. Part of me wants to rip it out of this just so I can use the drill bit on it, but I will refrain. I will refrain. All right, what does we get now? It felt like it got bigger. Ooh, it's starting to go in. Not quite there yet, but it's starting to. It is getting warm out here, ladies and gentlemen. I am starting to sweat a little bit. Like I mentioned, it's been in like the 70s and 80s. No, excuse me, 80s and 90s this past week. One of the days it actually breached 100 degrees, which is pretty rare. They say it's unprecedented. Okay. There it is. That is perfecto. I do not get that excited about weather. I do not like it hot. I prefer cold, but I mean, let's be realistic. It's, you know, anything over 70 degrees is hot to me. So if I could get away in Alaska, I probably would. I'd like Alaska. I like cold weather. All right, let's see here. I don't want to get too aggro. I don't want to get too ballsy, because that was almost too much. But that does work right there, so I'm going to give it just a little kiss. A little kiss, like this. Stefan, how's it going? Steven? Saw snowflakes here today. Dude, like, half the freaking country's, like, burning up. The other half of you guys are freaking freezing. Like, what the fuck? It's freaking nuts. Freaking Andy with YDNA, he's got snow at his place right now. He's waiting for the snow to go away before he freaking paints his tank to his chopper. Like, what the hell? I'm over here dying of freaking heat. It's bullshit. Alright, let's see what we got here. So far, ooh, man, that came out really fucking good. Let's see what that looks like. I want to make sure these all came out really even, like, you know what I mean, Gene? Now, it is kind of a bummer with these. These ones I for sure cannot install until they until after I put the back plate on. That is another downer. So I guess it doesn't even matter that I freaking figured out my other issue, but wait, what the fuck am I doing? That's not where you're supposed to go. I need to give this one just a little bit more of a coring though. Okay. These are both the red ones here. Click. And then this one is the black one. Yay! And oh, those came out so good. So good, so straight. You can't really tell, but they came out so straight. And same with all these guys. These all came out really nice and straight too. That was hand drilled, ladies and gentlemen. Done by hand. Fucking straight by hand. So you can see how much fun that one's going to be down in there to freaking work on. Because I do have to attach some things to those. So there is going to be a sort of an order. I will have to have the back plate on or ready before I put these in. So again, we will have to solidify naming and all that stuff. I will say this, I have been a good boy. I know that I've been gone for a week and haven't done any videos really. But I did do some design work on the faceplate. I'm not prepared to show it yet, but I still wasn't sure of the dimensions and everything that we were going to go with. Everything's kind of just roughed in at the moment, but I am quite confident based on what I've seen so far today that we're going to be okay. So perhaps in the next video, we'll show the progress on that and we'll solidify like the logo and all that kind of jazz. So we'll see. All right. Let's get this done here. Want this out of the way. I want this to go right there. Damn it. That's really going to suck. I can probably get that one, but I'm going to have to remove that screw. And I really didn't want to have to move these any more than they've already been done, but yeah, I did tighten that down. It was not meant to come undone again. How's that? There it goes. All right, let's see if I can get this one. Ooh, that was a little messy, but it did get it. It did get it. Now this one, I don't think I'm going to be able to get with the tool or the machine. I'm going to have to do this one by like hand or something like that. I need to get like a smaller... Ooh, that actually fucking worked. Huh. I'll take the wins where I can get them. I was not expecting that to do as good of a job as it did. But that did actually a job. All right, cool. That now means all but one hole is drilled at this point in time. That guy there. So we're so far... Knock on wood, things are going my way. So let's get that last hole figured out. I know already that it's not any of the regular sizes, but let's just find out how far off I'm going to be. Because on, damn, this thing's been doing me well. It's not a half an inch, I know that much. 462, right? 462. So I'm looking for something that's like 465 or something like that. That's not going to be, that's 400. 427, that's not big enough. 459, that isn't big enough. And then this is my half inch, which is 487. So I can go all the way up to the last rung on this. And then we're going to have to file out the rest or something, I think. Which is very unfortunate. But let's go. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go with the unibit on that one the rest of the way. I think this one, yeah, it's 7/32. Or do I want to go to a 1/4 inch and just be done? No, I'll just do it with the unibit. It's close enough. All right. Now, is there anything I'm going to hit if I go all the way through? Good job. Good job. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I will not hit anything if I go all the way through. So I just got to make sure I don't go up at an angle. I know you guys can't see me, so I apologize, but... Okay, I'm going to stop a little bit short there. I think this is still at... I still haven't quite broken through to that one that was like the next size down. But let's just make sure... Before I go any further... Yeah, okay, so it's stopping at the threads, right? So I am going to finish off with the bit that I had. There it is. Okay. And this thing should still... Ooh, it's so close. Is it gonna work? Oh my god! I got lucky. It's... Oh, everything's going my way. I'll take it. That was not supposed to fit. But it is fitting. So it wallowed itself out enough that it is going in the hole. Wow. Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Can you tell I'm happy? I take the wins that I can get. So I was not expecting that. So when I was cutting, so this is the same one that I used on the Cerberus when I was doing all the repairs on that one. And that same size would not fit. And I think it was because it was a steel chassis, so it didn't really wear in or wallow out the same way. That's my only guess. I don't know. You saw it with the calipers. That was not supposed to fit. So whatever was going on worked in our favor in that way. So sometimes you get lucky. I think today is... Somebody wants this amp built. How's that? I think there's a higher power above that wants this amp to get built now. And it's leaving me with zero excuses to not get it done. So I will take all the wins that I can get. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate that. Man, that's a lot of holes. Freaking cheese grater up in here. Oh, yes. Fits like a freaking dream. Let's go. Now this one I will be able to install after the fact. I kind of wish I had found these that had like the blade, the spade connectors on them. I don't know that they make them that way. I might look and see if I can find some of those with the spade connectors, because if I can, I would prefer those. I like making things so you can repair it. It just makes it more future-proof. And as you probably already know, I like making it so that there's no excuse. So there we have it. So this will go here, and it'll probably go just like that. And then there will literally be a wire that goes like down from, I can't remember. I think it's this one here or that one there. One of those two, and just boop right into it. So, yay! So that also will have an order in which it needs to go into the chassis as well. Holy cow! Okay, well, I'm super stoked. Things are going the way they're supposed to be going. Let's go ahead and get this guy back in. I think this thing can now be made permanent. At least I'm pretty sure it can. But what I need to do is put this back in. Oh, one of the screws fell out. Damn it. I don't know where it went. Which way do you go? You go this way. I want it that way. Tell me why. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't see that little screw anywhere. Poop. I might have knocked it down. My luck ran out, everybody. There's no reason why I should have gotten... There it is, I found it. I'm bitching about nothing. Tell me why. I don't know why that song came to mind, but it did, so... There you have it. Tell me why. I want it that way. Desire. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. Can't. Just can't. Alright. Let's clean things up a little bit here. So you might not be able to tell, but there's a bunch of like fingerprints and just babas in there. We want all the babas out. Thank you. I did have to make some other decisions on the side without you guys. I apologize, but it'll kind of make sense once you understand. More or less, I did decide that, well, what did I decide? I can't even remember what I was just about to say. I was just talking about it. It had to do with something. It doesn't matter. It wasn't important, obviously. Let me clean up just one more little thing here. I'm not happy with something yet still. There was some other work that I did on the outside, like... There we go. Yes, yes, yes! I wish you guys could feel what I feel. So basically all the holes are nice and straight. They came out looking really good. Everything is doing what it's supposed to do right now. So I'm super stoked in that regard. Oh, I guess it was these things. So I went with silicone wire. That was one of those little things. That's why this stuff is kind of like, I don't know, malleable. So this one here is actually, this one is wrong. This one will go to there. So this one needs to be, this one will get cut, but it'll go to there, and then from there it'll go around up to the switch over here. So there are a couple things that'll go around into the chassis like that. As I mentioned, this guy here will go to the power transformer, so it'll come, I'm going to try to do it so that this thing sticks back like this inside of there. So they'll come up from the bottom and then shoot out this way. And then the hope is that this stuff will be malleable enough that it'll rest right in there. I'm hoping that the fitting will fit right there. And then we'll have the heater wires come out. They'll come back this way and run along that way, right? Little things like that. I kind of have gotten as far along as I want to for today. I don't know that we can get any more done at this point. I still need to make the back plate before we can really do anything. But now that I have all these holes, at least we know that those are... Did that one move on me? I thought it... No, it looked straight before. Hold on, I have to know. I have to know. No, it's straight. It's just the way that the plastic... So the plastic hangs over the hole, so you can't tell where the actual edge of the hole is versus where the plastic sits over it. So it looks like it's crooked, even though it's actually not. Damn. I'm super, super stoked right now, everybody. Yay! We got things did today. Alright. I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup here. What time is it? We've been doing this for, what, 2 hours now? A little bit better than I thought in terms of actual time. And the fact that we got through more than I thought we were is nice as well. So, other things like I mentioned I was doing, I also did some work on the cabinet, some design work there. I guess I can't show you that. I have to move it to this machine here, so we'll have to get crafty with that. So I did start working out the cabinet. So I have the sizing figured out. I have, I think, the CNC aspect of it all dialed in. So I'm excited about that. Hold on here, just still cleaning up a little bit. All right. Get my chair. Change of view up here so you can see my face. I want preset Uno. There we go. All right. Whew. Sloth, you're good at coming in at the last minute, aren't you? You're not living up to your name, bud. I'm teasing. So, funny story. My son's nickname, everybody calls him Sloth, mainly because you know how like a sloth kind of looks like they're stoned or whatever. I guess he's kind of got that look going for him. So it's not because he's actually slothy or whatnot, but just yeah, man. All right, super excited. We got some stuff done. We know that this is going to fit now. Absolutely can do. So that is a very nice thing. I need to get in touch with Mr. Elam about this and find out for sure how the how this thing gets powered up. What I might need to do to adjust things. From what I understand, and based on what he was telling me when I first started talking to him, is that it was going to work perfectly at like 330 volts for the B plus on that. So should be peachy keen there. In the next, that's the other things I did too. So this is a 3/16 inch like wire clamp. I have an 1/8 inch coming. That should be here tomorrow. Tomorrow I have the stuff to get the PEM in. Sorry, I call it by its acronym, Power Entry Module. I wanted a particular length for the nuts and whatnot on this, so I have those coming. My local Home Depot doesn't have any options whatsoever for stainless steel. I use stainless steel parts, so all of my screws and stuff like that are all stainless steel. I try to use stainless in all the fasteners and stuff like that. So so you didn't really miss all that much. 2 hours. We made some pretty decent time today. I'm just gonna stop now because I don't think there's really anything else that I can do that's gonna help us along. Like I'm kind of at the point now where I need to finish up the back plate, as we already know. So that's what I'll probably work on a little bit more tomorrow. I'm not set up at the moment to show you what that looks like. So I'm one of those types where I have a computer to do the job for everything. I literally own like 5 computers. One is just for the CNC. One is just for doing sound and my audio related stuff. I have one just for doing this. I have another one in the house just for surfing the web. I have different PCs for literally doing different things. I have a Mac to just do Serato with. So I used to be a DJ years and years ago. So I have a Mac that runs the Serato setup that I had at the time when that was a huge deal. So I'm like one of those guys. So what I have to do is get it so that I can, I'll probably just do a remote session or something like that. So you can see what's on the other computer while on this one. I'll be clever like that. And we'll do some remote device shit. Whew, there's 15 of you at the moment. One of the things I thought about doing, I don't know how well it's going to go. I don't have the thing plugged in, so we'll just have to listen to the mic. But if you want, we could hear the Atlas here, and it's not too different from the other one, but I can give you an idea of kind of what I'm up to. Like, I know everybody seems to think I do like these low gain amps, but I don't really do low gain amps per se. We can talk about this design though, because it is kind of cool. It is different. How's that? Different. I like different. It's different. All right. It's just different. But let's do this. Let's get a different camera view here. I think preset 3. Blam! All right, so this is the Atlas here. That's what we're going to actually listen to. I got it going through the JBL here. So it's going into the Captor X, and then from the Captor X, it's going into the Focusrite. I don't think I have it set up so that way you can see or hear the Focusrite. I'd have to double check. I don't know yet. So let's just see what this thing's gonna do when I plug it in. I can hear it. That's a start. Oh, you should be able to hear that. It came up. So you probably notice it's a little bit fatter than the, just a little rounder. I got some fine tuning to do for it still, but. And I know you probably hear like an echo because you can hear, tell me if you can hear, obviously you hear me. I'm going to mute myself. So now you can't hear me. You're going to see me yap, 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 yap. So let me know, can you actually hear that? Or am I crazy? Based on my thing, you should be able to hear it though. Oh, I'm getting a little scared. Nobody's answering me. Am I out of control here? I don't know. I don't know. Are we off the rails yet? Okay, we want more volume? We can do that. Let's see here. I'm looking at the meters. I can tell too. It needs to be louder, but... Maybe it's not. I don't know. So I can tell you right now, I know that that is with the bass cut all the way out right now. Sounds full. Yeah, no, she's a big girl. She's called Atlas for a reason. So what I can tell you is, I know you can't really see it, so I'll make it so you kind of sort of can. All right. Hey, I guess you can see this. So this is a high cut. That is the master volume. It's basically nothing but preamp distortion right now, if you want to call it that. Volume 2, which is my EF86 side of things, is turned all the way up. Edge is all the way up. The low cut for that channel is all the way down. Volume 1 is almost all the way up. That is the parallel trio channel. And the low cut for that is almost all the way down. I still have some fine tuning to do on this thing. One of those fine tuning things I need to do is cut just a little bit more bass out. And I'll turn up the bass to kind of nominal level so you can get an idea what it's like when she's really angry. Obviously just a bit on the fat side, right? It's just a little too round. So we're gonna that's the next thing. More or less what I've been working on is trying to get kind of that kind of distortion going on. So what's happening in this amp is I have a parallel triode. That's the 12AX7, that's the first tube. That tube does cascade into the EF86. Now the EF86, you are getting pentode distortion. So you're actually getting some crunch from the EF86. And then of course, the EF86 drives the ever-living shit out of the phase inverter. So you are getting phase inverter distortion as well. So when you do turn this amp up all the way, you kind of get a cacophony of like everything. Like you can get the output section totally going if you want. Let's turn volume 2 all the way down. So now this would just be the 12AX7 side, and it's meant to be a little bit thicker, fatter, and more round, I guess. It's meant to be like the clean, but you can blend them in together at any way you want. So the EF86 channel is meant to basically pick up where the 12AX channel leaves. So I purposely left this channel a little on the anemic side, if you will. So this is volume 1 turned all the way up. Right, so obviously just a little fat. Let me turn off my actual talking mic so you can actually hear what it is saying. So as you can tell, that's meant to be more like if you want the clean, that does the clean. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to turn the volume 1 down and I'll try to do a clean with the volume 2. It does it, but it's not the same. It's similar, it's just not the same. It's obviously a little less balls, a little more high ends. I want to try to get just a little more high frequency out of the EF86 side of things, but we'll come down that. So I'm going to roll the master volume back a little bit and let's just blend the two in kind of to taste here. Well, actually, let's hear kind of a little more of a crunch tone out of the volume 1 first. I don't actually know that song. Hold on, I'm gonna mute this mic so you can actually hear. Yikes. So it's just a nice crunch channel, and you can kind of get that with the volume 2 as well. Like I say, it's meant to kind of pick up where the other one leaves off, but you can blend the two in and kind of get some more harmonic like crunch out of it if you want. So all I did right there was just change how much of volume 1 came in, and you can hear it just got a little crunchier without really adding too much more volume to it. So this is volume 1 kind of all the way up, and just volume 2 starting to get into the fun zone. Yeah, both channels dimed. I'm turning the low cut all the way off on both of them. All right, and I know you want to hear what this thing is going to sound like with the master volume dimed. So let me work that out real quick. I'm going to put this thing into low gain mode. That's the torpedo I'm talking about. I'm going to bring the master up. I'm not going to mess with the volume 1 and 2 yet, but let's just get an idea of where this thing's going to go. Dimed! And it actually does kind of clean up a little bit. It tightens up a little bit if you bring one of the channels out. So I'm going to take the volume 1 out. So now it's just volume 2 all the way. Anyway, I think you get the idea. Now, obviously, I would not expect anybody to be playing like that. I would say probably right around the 3 o'clock point is where you'll live for the most part with that thing. I don't, even at 20 watts, I don't think you'd want to be around this thing. So I'm backed it off just a little bit. All right, I think that's enough of that. You get the idea. So, yes, I have amps that do more than just clean, kind of pretty stuff. Hold on a second while I make it so that doesn't bug you. This one still has some tightening up to do. I am going to reduce some of the bass, which will tighten it up a little bit. I may give it just a little bit more drive. Because of tightening up the bass, I might be able to push it a little bit more without getting into any kind of blocking distortion or anything like that. So we'll see how that's going to go. But let's get that out of there. All right. Hold on a second here. Let me get this going here. Get the right view going. What do you think? What do you think? Am I doing good? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Creating cool killer amps. I hope I'm starting to be able to sell these things now. So now in the last couple days, you've heard 2 of my designs now. And you can kind of get an idea of where I'm starting to head with them. The giveaway amp will be nothing short of those last 2 videos. It will have that kind of feel, touch, and everything, and sans the sweaty fingers and slipping off the strings and fun stuff like that. It's kind of a little hot up in here. You want the Atlas. Here's the problem with the Atlas. It is called the Atlas for a reason. It has a power transformer that's probably 2x what it needs to be. Easily a 2. It's a 372JX. Riley knows which one I'm talking about. It's running 6v6s. So it's a 372JX running 6v6s. So it's a power transformer big enough to run, big bottle tubes, EL34s, 6L6s, whatnot. It's using a choke, although I don't think it really needs the choke. I put the choke in there because at one point I had a little bit of noise and I wasn't happy with it, so I put the choke in, and I can't say it made it any better. As I evolved the design to where it's at now, all the noise just went away anyway. But it's got a giant choke in there. I'm not taking it out. It'll be part of the design. It's using a JTM45 output transformer, so the transformer is double what it needs to be. And then it's just complicated because it is a parallel path, tube amp. Like, both paths are always on in parallel at all times. It is not a switchable thing. You can't do clean with one and no with the other, right? So you kind of got to pick your poison, but they're blendable. And the idea initially behind it was to just have, you know, kind of like a dual, what do you want to call it? Like, you could have your cake and eat it too. Like, one channel was meant to really do the clean thing, like the beautiful cleans. Well, the other one, if you wanted to have more rudeness or whatnot, you could blend between the two and get somewhere in there, right? And as you can hear, that is your amp. If you're looking for the blues and rock tone, like that thing, it's got the crunch. I think I can get a little more drive out of it. I wasn't really trying to turn it into a super monster. I still like that it can, I didn't really show it, but you can roll the volume back a little bit and get it to clean up. And you kind of heard it a little bit with the EF86 side. Even at low gain settings, it does a pretty nice clean. I don't know. It's tough to say. Some people like really dirty cleans. Like, you know, what I was just playing right now when I had it dimed, that's some people's cleans. I'm talking about like Fluff from Riffs, Beards, and Gear, but that's his clean setting. But I'm teasing, of course, again, but you know, how do I don't know, you just can't please everybody. So I'm trying to make amps that cover like all the different bases. So this guy here is going to be nothing short of those other two. That's the big point. So you just use the knobs, Riley. There's two knobs on there. There's volume 1 and volume 2. You kind of get channel 1 to kind of where you want it. Maybe you want it just on the edge of breakup. And then if you need a little bit more, right, you goose in the EF86. And what I kind of found with it is that, because the EF86 channel is meant to be a little bit thinner, a little bit more clarity. And like I said, I might try to find a way to add just a little bit more in, although it doesn't seem to need it. But right, so when you roll your volume back, you kind of get the best of both worlds, because they interact with each other, right? Because the drive from the 12AX7 is pushing the EF86. So if you're pushing the heck out of the 12AX7, it's also kind of pushing the heck out of the EF86. So you can get to this magic balancing point where you get both of them kind of working. And then as you roll the volume back on your guitar, you can really kind of balance between clean to mean. It does pretty good with that. So once I get a little bit more work on my 30 watt design, which is this one here, that one's not quite ready yet. We're getting close. I'm starting to wrap my head around it a little bit, but that one will be the next one that I'll be kind of buttoning up. But the Atlas, as you can see, has face plates on it. That thing needs to get done. So, other things I've done. I have bought all the wood. So I have the wood for the cabinetry on this. I told you I was already doing some of the design work for that. So I have all the wood I need to do that now, because I'm a good boy. I am keeping busy. Oh, okay. Without phasing issues. Well, if I told you every secret, I kind of gave the secret away. At one point, I was using a Lele like 1-to-1 transformer in there, and I used that to invert the polarity. But I wasn't happy with how the transformer was interacting with things, so I took the transformer out, and then I was like, well, I have to run the 12AX7 into the EF86. So that's how I'm inverting the polarity, is I'm utilizing the EF86 as the second triode, or well, pentode in this case, but you know, the pentode works the same as a triode does. When you go in positive, you come out negative, right? So in this case here, I have the 12AX7, it comes out negative, goes into the EF86 negative, and out positive. So now I have a negative and a positive signal that I can then inject on either side of the phase inverter. So that's why it kind of gets a little ornery when you dime both of them up, is because you're literally crunching in on both sides of the phase inverter with two different types of distortion, if you will. And it does change the feel and kind of the harmonic content of the amp a little bit. So you can play around quite a bit with just the phase inverter. Like if you want a tube roll, in many of my designs, the phase inverter is the spot where you'd want to do the tube rolling, to be honest, because that is where most all the distortion is occurring. With the Atlas, that's pretty much the core of the distortion sound, is the phase inverter. The EF86 is getting driven a little bit by the 12AX7, a little bit, but it's just enough to get it into crunch. And then it's running the rest of the way with the phase inverter. Oh, goodness, excuse me. The other amp that you heard the other day, the RR, that one, oh, goodness, excuse me. That one is honestly quite a bit of phase inverter distortion as well. It's something I feel that I excel at, is figuring out how to make the output section work with the input section. I don't think a lot of people have quite got it dialed in. A big part of what I try to get with my amps is it sounds pretty much the same at low, like bedroom levels, as it does when it's dimed all the way. And you maybe noticed it even with the Atlas. It's still got a little bit bigger and bolder once you got it dimed up with the master volume, but it would anyway, because now you're actually starting to get the power tubes to play in the game too. So obviously you can't win everything, but up until the point where the power tubes start getting spanked hard enough to get themselves playing the game as well, it tends to stay pretty neutral. All the work is being done from the input to the phase inverter. Same with the RR. It stays pretty much the same until you get the power tubes getting in the game, and then it changes up a bit. It gets a little fatter, a little rounder, chewier too. It has that feel. Oh, the glue under the fingers that these things have, it's hard to explain. But I don't know, I'm all about the feel. So it's got to sound a certain way too, but the feel has to be there. And there's just like this glue under the fingers. It doesn't, I don't know. Like some amps, you play it and the notes just jump off the fretboard. I don't really like amps that are too, what's the word for it? Too immediate. Maybe they call that articulation. I still like articulation. To me, articulation is when you play all 6 strings, you can hear all 6 notes, right? But I try to make it so that, you know, the feel is there. And then the articulation, when you play all 6 strings, you hear all 6 notes. But as an Aussie, I can't believe you actually drink. Everybody teases me about that. This is cheap beer. Okay, over here, this is pretty affordable. Like this is like $2.50, maybe $3 for a can. Well, this is 24 ounces, right? So it's basically $1.50 per beer, if you will, in there. And the green stuff, the blue shit is not Aussie anything, but this green stuff, I'm all about that. So, and then as for what strings I use 9 through 42s. I'm a D'Addario or D'Addario or whatever you want to call them. I get these guys, the XL120 set. So just 9 through 42s. I have been using them for, gosh, eons now. Freaking-ons. I used to play Ernie Ball when I was younger, 30 years ago. When I first started playing guitar, I was using Ernie Balls. And I started running into quality issues with them. They were just snapping all the time. And I wasn't happy with them. So then I went to the I think it's still D'Addario that was doing the blue steels. And the blue steels were fun. I liked those a lot. They lasted a little bit longer, at least I felt like they did. But then I started going through this phase with them where they started breaking at the bridge a lot. Like it didn't make a lot of sense, but they would break at the bridge a lot. So I wasn't quite happy with that. So 10 years of playing with that, I went back to Ernie Ball for a little bit. This is right around the advent of the Cobalt and the NYXL crap that they were all trying with the coated strings and the different metallurgy for the strings and stuff. I tried all kinds of different stuff with that. And the Cobalt felt cool. Like it actually is a little more slinky and it had a neat feeling under the fingers, but it also felt weird under the fingers. It almost felt like sticky, but yet slippery at the same time. Kind of like if you put silicone on something, like there's that initial bite, but then it breaks and you can it slides along. I don't know, hard to explain. I didn't really care, and I didn't think they lasted all that much longer. And when they went south, they really didn't do what I was liking. The nice thing about these D'Addarios, these XL120s, the basic shit, even when they're dead, they're not so dull and dark and just blah that they're, you know what I mean? Those strings are due for replacement, but they still have a nice little zing to them. Not quite the same zing as they would have if they were new, but whatever. I'm pretty bad about changing strings. I'll go until either one breaks or like I'll pick it up and I'll pluck the E string, and if I can't hear any kind of ring or shimmer out of it at all, then it's time to go. But I have one of those types of, I guess, those acids in my fingers or something like that that keeps the strings pretty clean pretty long. I can get probably a good couple months out of a set, you know, dogging around in the garage. Like obviously if I were playing like real shows and stuff, I'd change every show. I would have a new set of strings, but for just futzing around out in the garage, I can get a few months out of them. So, and I have a butt ton of guitars. I mean, I have way more guitars than I need. So, you know, I go through a little thing and I'll change out 5 sets of strings. And by the time I get to the 5th guitar, you know, the first set's gone. And by the time I get through that, it's been almost a year because I've gone through 5 guitars and it took, you know, several months each to get through them. So, packet of 19. Ooh. You see, I don't really do those, but they're cheap strings, like for what, $10, $9, maybe on sale. You can get them for $6 a set or something like that. It's pretty freaking cheap. So, and I haven't found anything better. What really bummed me out though, is I used to play quite a bit, at least maybe not as much as some people, but quite a bit. I used to play out and, you know, did shows and all that jazz. And I was saving up all those points that they used to have for, you know, recycling the packaging or whatnot. Well, I had gotten about 10 years worth of these things saved up. And then just before I wanted to get the chair. I wanted the freaking bar stool chair. Well, they closed up the options for that right about the time I had enough points to get that. I was so pissed. Like, you kidding me? Sometimes you just can't win. So I was a little miffed about that I spent, you know, half my damn life by that point in time saving up packets and moving with these giant boxes of freaking these packages just for them to not be worth anything anymore. Players Club, yeah. So, EF86 are great for, yeah, no, I'm probably not going to do any more designs with the EF86. It is a cool tube, and I have two designs that are utilizing it, and they each do their kind of own little thing, but, I am going to go on a limb and say that I kind of don't see it. They're great if you want to spank the ever-living crap out of what's behind it, right? Like if you need a lot of shit and get with very few number of stages, I don't think you can beat it in that regard. But when it comes to just something that's easy to put in the circuit and make it work, they do require a little bit of tuning. And I purposely bought 2 different ones to see how disparate they were from one another. They are disparate. Like, they are not the same tube, really. I mean, they have the same kind of level of gain, but the tonality wise, like the one that's in the Atlas is freaking tits, man. The one in the Atlas is amazeballs. The one that's in my 30-watt design, I'm not super duper happy with it. The funny thing is the one that's in the 30-watt design is the more expensive of the 2 versions that I bought. So, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. So, all right. Okay. Tooheys. I'm gonna see if I can find that next time I'm out and about. I can't say that sounds like a name that I recall. The thing with the Fosters here is that we have an American brewer. I think it's out of Chicago or something like that. I wonder if it actually says. I thought it used to say. Not that I need to sit here and bother with it, but under supervision of Foster's Brands Limited by Oil Can Breweries in Fort Worth, Texas. It's out of Texas, not Chicago. So, yeah, there you have it. All right, so any other questions? Any other suggestions? Any other ideas for like naming or something like that? So tomorrow I'll get it set up on here so that way we can see what I've been up to. I'll get it, so we can remote into the other computer and kind of check things out and basically work on multiple computers at the same time. But tomorrow, I think, is when we'll start getting the ball rolling. I'll try to solidify a couple things, loose ends and stuff, like how these are going to work. Now that we know that that's going to fit in there, no problema. Maybe we'll get that put together and get those kind of soldered in. No, it's freaking amazeballs is what it is. John, welcome to the party. You missed the freaking real show. Honest to God, I actually really do like the Foster's. It's for cheap beer. It's hard to beat. Yeah, right. No, I'm not going to call it that. Again, just to remind everybody, we have solidified on LD7. I'm going to drop the L and I'm going to do DVII dash 50. So it'll be DVII, so D7 dash 50. And then maybe I'll put the L somewhere else on the thing. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I kind of don't really want to put the L. I feel like it'll just be too many of them. The name's Grant. No, John. Your name's John. But we did get quite a bit done today, so I'm really super duper stoked about that. I got to come up with a game plan because I did get more done today than I was hoping or anticipating. So we now have a cheese grater. Look at all those holes. They're all going to be filled. I'm super duper excited about that. So here at this point now, I don't see why we couldn't get this thing making noise by this next weekend, perhaps. I'm going to try to slow down and pump the brakes just a little bit. I know that I keep saying I can do it in a week and all that jazz, but I don't think we need to get too hurried at this point. Things are moving along well enough that I don't think we have to try to rush job it. I know that once it goes together, having these two here with kind of a similar topology, similar. I know that it'll work. I don't think there's going to be too much R&D to get it kind of fixed up. I think when we first fire this up, we're going to end up with some blocking distortion of some sort, probably. I also feel like we might end up with more gain than, too much. Like it'll be way too much. So we'll probably have to do a little bit of attenuation tuning more than anything. Tonality wise, I'm a little bit bummed that I put the mid-cut circuit in this thing. I know that it'll work. I don't like the sucked out mids thing. And I'm going to use kind of like a Framus style mid control. So it's more or less independent. I don't like stacks, so it will be non-interactive with the other two things. But I'm going to try to make it so that way when all the tone controls are all the way up, that is basically what the amp would sound like. All right, that's what it would sound like. No interaction. No, that. And if you turn it all the way down, they don't interact with each other. So it's kind of a realistic way, I feel, to make the amps. And you don't lose as much gain when you stagger the tone controls around because you're not losing all that gain in one spot. You're losing a little bit here, but it's easier to make it up with the next gain stage, right? And then you suck a little bit more out with the next tone control, but you're not sucking 30 dB out all at once. You're maybe sucking, 5 to 10 dB. And because they don't interact, it's not like a Fender Marshall Vox tone control where, like, even if you turn the pots all the way up and all that jazz, it still has that weird wonky like frequency response. It doesn't do that. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, looks fancier. I'm kind of going with DVII, or well, II for DV, Roman numeral. How confident am I the circuit's going to work? Oh, I'm highly confident. I know it's going to work. It's just going to be the fine tuning parts, more or less. It's not too far removed at this point from the RR. If you think about it, it's pretty much that. So if I even just did that circuit and added one more gain stage, it would almost literally be the same. So I know it's going to work. I just don't know. I don't know if it's going to be too much. You know what I mean? Like, too much of a good thing is still too much. So we're adding quite a bit of gain stages in this thing. So it's going to be, there's going to have to be a little bit of attenuation here or there. But that's why we got a volume control between each one. That's the whole Dumble thing I was talking about. So if you look at like I showed it in one of the previous videos, but if you look at like a Dumble ODS, like number 183, yeah, you know what? He doesn't have to deal with it. It's not his freaking problem. and I think this is the only proper way to go. So I don't like effects loops. I really freaking hate effects loops, and I don't want to add another pair of tubes or even another tube to drive the, because the impedances are going to be off anyway. I don't like cathode followers, so we're not putting a cathode follower in this bitch. It's all those like little things, like, it is what it is, but this is the best effects loop for what I want to achieve out of this thing. It's not serial. That is a little bit of a bummer. Some people really like their serial effects loops, but effects loops suck tone, period. Effects loops suck tone, right? You're adding something else into the circuitry that is not meant to do anything. All right, it's literally meant to convert the impedance so you can get out to something that doesn't have the same impedance and then get it back in and recover that. But every freaking time, it's going to change the tone. This one here, the only tone that can be changed is the tone coming in from the effects loop, right? So by that I mean quite literally that whatever's being returned into this is the only thing that will have any kind of tonal change. It's series or parallel, so it's not actually touching the core tone of the amp. So I myself am not worried about the quality of sound that this thing is going to produce. It's just a slightly different way of running your effects. Oh, he doesn't know nothing. Not about me. He doesn't say that. I am as boutique as they come. I am as boutique as they come. And I know he doesn't think that either way, because I talked to him last night. We were on the phone for like an hour last night. So we're talking about all kinds of fun stuff. So in either case, yeah, there's a lot of little things. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's all good. Everybody's okay. I know I think I heard him earlier. I had him on earlier today, but he's like, Luke, he does all this other stuff on the back end and doesn't show you all the mistakes that he makes. Bitch, I don't make mistakes. I'm teasing, of course, but I don't make mistakes. All the above, 4, 8, and 16, yes. So that's what this guy here is, 4, 8, 16. 50 watts, 4, 8, 16. That effect, yeah, and this effects loop is unobtainable at this point too. Yeah, I'm fortunate, and Elam is an awesome cat for making it even available to me. I'm gonna see if he'll make some more. He said he's not ready. He said he's not prepped at the moment to go into production making those things, but I think after this video is done and everybody actually gets to see it, and hear it, I think things will change a little bit. So this is, sorry, I'll get it in the shot. This is it. It's called the Parallax. It's a series effects loop. It's using Dale Vishays for the resistors. It's using a real ohmite there. It's using real Nishikons. Those are real Nishikons. And he's even using a gold cap. That's a Nishikon gold cap there. This is the real deal stuff. And click, click. So that's bypass. That's engaged. This is in polarity, inverted polarity. All right. So what does that mean? So some effects pedals, not all, but some effects pedals do change the polarity in their signal path, right? So you'll come in with a negative or positive, whatever it might be. But on the other side of the effects, you'll come out with a negative or a positive, whatever. It'll be the opposite of whatever you went in with, right? Well, in a series effects loop, that is the problem with them, is that if you run the dry signal in a series effects loop, or a parallel effects loop, right? If you run the dry signal with that, you're having two signals now that are potentially out of polarity with each other, which means that you can have cancellations and weird oddity stuff, right? Because you're essentially putting back in the same thing that went out, but it might be in different time. It might be, like digital effects probably aren't going to work too well for this, especially if you don't have it full wet. So with a parallel effects loop, you need to run your effects full wet. You don't want to mix the dry in, because if you mix the dry in, you're now taking the dry signal and mixing it back in with your dry signal. So this one has adjustable level for the send and the return. So you can send to your effects however loud you need to, and you can return back in however loud you need to. All right. And then if you need to invert the polarity, you can do that. So that way you don't have any phasing issues or polarity issues. And then of course it has the ability to bypass. So yay. That is the shiznit right there. And it's using TLO 72s for the op amps, which are actual amps, or, you know, op amps made to, you know, do audio. So it's not messing around. That is the real deal right there. So quite stoked. No expenses spared. And he gave me a hell of a deal. I mean, he offered, he's like, if you could basically pay for shipping and like base cost on parts or something like that. And then he told me the number, and it was just like, it was too low. I think it would have cost me like $50. I was like, no, dude, I'll send you. I think it ended up costing me $75. I think it's about what I spent. I sent him 120, I think it was Australian dollars. And then I think it actually cost me like 75 or something like that. So awesome. Thank you. We love new subs. And it still baffles my mind that most all of my subs seem to be coming from out of the country now. So anyway, tone controls in action. Yeah, no, well, they're kind of subtle, really. So I also like it to be where, you know, you get the full range of the pot, right? So when it's all the way up, I want it to be usable. That's why I say that this guy there, I need to tame the bass down. When I was tuning it initially, I was tuning it with a single coil, which obviously are a bit thinner. And, you know, I erred a little too fat, I would say. So we need to thin it down just a little bit. But I try to make it so that way it's just a bit too fat when it's all the way up, right? So I don't necessarily anticipate that you'll run it full beans for the bass or low cut or whatever. And then you just bump it back a little bit, and that kind of puts it into its nominal spot, if you will. Well, if you want it to go thin, you can go thin, but it never goes like radio thin. You know, like that radio effect where it's, you know, all honky and like literally no bass. I don't like that. That to me is not really usable. Not for a real, you know, an amp that you're trying to play with, right? So I try to make it so that the full range of the pot has a pretty large sweep of usable area. Same with the high cut. The high cut's a little more challenging to dial in that way without getting crazy. But high cut kind of works just like a high cut does. You know, all the way up, it's bright, whatever. Maybe not too bright. I try not to make the amps too bright. I like them a little darker than bright, but you know, you crank it down to about halfway and it really doesn't do a whole lot. And then the last half of the sweep, obviously it does what every high cut pot does. It just kind of really starts to work as you get towards the back end of it. But by then I feel like there's enough edge lopped off anyway that you're really not trying to get too much darker. Everything that you heard today, the edge was all the way up. Same with the high cut. The high cut was all the way up. So I try to keep it so that the highs are pretty dialed in even when they're all the way up. That might be to some detriment. I don't know. Some people like I know country players, they have that saying where, you know, brightness is next to godliness. Like they like really bright amps. And there are some people that like really bright amps. I don't like bright. It's like one of those things you just can't get rid of as a sound engineer. It's like, I always like it when it's like a pretty even tone, right? It's pretty linear. Like it's horrible when you got too much bass. Like you can't really do anything about it. Like you can try cutting everything you want out, but there's always too much bass. And then, you know, the highs is like, the highs you can kind of work with to some degree, even if there's too much, but it's still coming off the stage that way. So anybody that's, you know, 5 feet in front of the stage is getting just slayed by that shit. The mids, I can't do anything about sucked out mids. Like it's hard to add mids back. You know, if you feel like you got too much mids, it's definitely easier to suck it out from the front of house point of view. So I like my mids. I'm all about them mids. But I also try to tune it in such a way where it still kind of has like a gentle slope, but I like my low mids. The low mids are where it's at, like getting that woody, like 250 hertz kind of honk in there, or more. It's not really a honk even, it's more like a whoo. Like getting that kind of thing in there is, it's kind of built in. How do you explain it? So it's the way the circuit's tuned, right? So like using a bypass or treble bypass cap or something like that over the top of a resistor, you can use that to get some of the upper mids or maybe just the air or something like that to flow through. But that will then suck the mids and the lows out of that signal. Well, depending on how you do this and where you do it, you can kind of get this slope built into it where it kind of feels like there's sucked out mids because you have more bass than you need. You allow more highs to pass through, but the mids are pretty much untouched. So you have kind of that humped bass, humped highs with the sucked out mids. But there's only so much you can do with it. So it's kind of baked into a degree, but it's just done tastefully, I guess is the term. It's not like I'm sitting there trying to put in like this whole EQ circuit or something like that. It's just in the staging is, I guess, the only way to explain it. It's just in the staging. So, yeah, join the giveaway. This is a giveaway amp, by the way, for the several new guys that are in here. We've gotten a pretty good crowd right now. That's great. I think it peaked earlier at like 19 or something like that. But so I've seen a couple new faces. So thank you for popping in and hanging with me. I know there's not a whole lot of activity here and whatnot, but if you're interested in how to build guitar amps or just interested in guitar amps in general, this is kind of the channel to be at, because I try to point it at this stuff here. So if you want to learn about your stuff a little bit more, this is the channel to do it. So yeah, this thing is going away to somebody. This will be World's voltage, so it will have 120 and 230. It will have a Schurter switch here that you can switch between the two, yada, yada, yada. So if you are in a country with 230 volts, it will work for you. 240 as well, too. Just basically the two voltages. So, any other questions while we were at it? Because now we are at the 3-hour mark, and I've really kind of gotten where I needed to get to today. So, I am super stoked. I'm happy, and I'm excited to get started on planning things for tomorrow and getting that ready to go. So, any other questions before we call it a night and I finish off my beer? 3 hours to drink a beer. That's wrong. So wrong. Yeah, the last few lives I've done, we've drilled some holes, we've made some cabling, we've gotten the effects loop. I show a couple amps. If you forward about an hour back from now, or hour earlier from now in this video, you can hear one of these other amps being played. I don't know how long you've been here, I'm just saying. But so yeah, we turned this thing into a cheese grater in the back. It's a cheese grater in the front, cheese grater on the top. We are ready to put some trannies in here and get some work did. I'm ready to get some work did, but it's still cool. It's on the edge of warm. Exactly. It's getting hard to drink now because it is starting to flatten a little bit, and it is a little bit on the warmer side, but it's really tasty when it's fresh. I mean, I can't tell you because you are from Australia, so I know you've had all the different beers. I'm more of an IPA guy, actually, so I really actually dig kind of the more barley flavored. You know, I like the hops. I really like the hops is really what I'm getting at. But like, to me, a really good beer kind of starts with an IBU of like 90, right in there. Like an IBU of 90 is where it starts getting to the tasty spot to me. But well, damn, like now all of a sudden everybody's coming in. We got 21 concurrent viewers, well, according to my thing anyway, which is like literally the peak of the entire thing, and I'm calling it quits right now. So for everybody who's here and watching, thank you. Do know that this is a giveaway amp, so whatever you're watching here on this video if you want to go back, you can kind of get an idea of what this thing's going to do. If you're interested in what you can possibly win. Oh man, that's harsh. That's a little bit much for me, but this is the series for you. So you can actually see the giveaway amp being built from beginning to end, literally from conception to completion type of thing. We're probably a little over halfway through this series right now. I know it doesn't look like there's a whole lot done at the moment, but I think this is like the seventh or eighth video I've done on this. And it doesn't seem like much has been done, but there's been a lot of little things that have gone on to get us to this point. We are now at the point where there is nothing that's holding us back per se. I can put it together. So it's just completing a couple little back end things. We need to get the faceplates designed and finished. Little things like that. Damn. Well, dude, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I'm super stoked. That's what this channel is about. So now you can start building your own amps. So I'm here to answer questions and stuff like that too. So I'm glad that you're getting something out of this. So that's what this is all about. And then what else? So yeah, this week, a lot's going to happen. So do be prepared. Probably about the same time today when I started is about what I'll start every day. So generally right around 5 o'clock California time. So set your clocks, get it on California time, and know that right around 5 p.m. Is probably about when I'll go live. Today it was 5:15. I was kind of just done setting up and getting ready at like 4 o'clock. I was like, or 4:55 or something like that. And I was just like, I need another 15 minutes. Hung out with the wife for a couple of minutes, got my beer ready to go, yada, yada, yada. So, I think that's going to do it for today, guys. I want to thank you. I can't thank you all enough. But just thank you all so much for hanging with me, and just be prepared. Tomorrow we're going to do some more, and the day after that, and the day after that. So we got a few more coming, but we're getting to the good part. So I'm going to call it a good night. I wish you all adieu. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.